Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me this evening for something pretty epic. Now, on a recent drive with my McLaren Senna late at night on the de-restricted German Autobahn with a pretty warm engine, I experienced quite how insane the flames are that come out of the exhaust, and tonight I figured I would take it for a blast to share the craziness of this with you. I'm actually back at one of my most frequent stops to visit at the moment, the V8 Hotel here at the Motor World in Böblingen outside of Stuttgart in Germany, where the hotel has rooms with automotive themes and the ground floor has car dealerships. You can do your shopping while you're here. On this side we have Arthur Bechtel Classic Motors, where inside there is a very nice red 300 SL Gullwing. Then over on the other side of the hotel is McLaren Stuttgart, where on my last visit I left the Senna to have its second year annual service. Now, when I departed, rather than parking the car up in, let's say, an underground garage or somewhere normal, we thought it would be fun to literally leave it here inside the V8 Hotel lobby. Chilling in front of the reception desk near the bar is my McLaren Senna. Well, tonight we're going to pull the car outside of the showroom, or I should say the hotel lobby, not quite the showroom, and then we'll take it for a drive so that I can share with you quite how ridiculous this actually is. Come on in then, here at the hotel where they often have interesting things on display, and today, sitting right in the middle of the lobby, is my McLaren Senna. Now, we do need to head past Arthur Bechtel's showroom just here, where you will spot the likes of a 600 Pullman, the gullwing doors are up on the 300 SL, and plenty more very nice classic Mercedes. But come on through, and the car is sitting right here, just where I left it, currently parked in race mode, nothing less of course. We'll have to pop that up though when we do take it out, but looking very cool under the lighting, I have to say. There's also the McLaren showroom just here, with another Senna on display inside the showroom at the moment, right underneath this display of all of the different wheels as well, which is very cool. But we will get it started. We'll take the car on out. It's actually plugged into a trickle charger at the moment. They've done a very tidy job of that, actually. I need to learn from this when I'm setting it up back at home in the garage. But looking really cool next to the reception desk and the bar area here at the lobby of the V8 Hotel. So let's get it started, get it pulled on out, and then go take it for a drive. It is time to do this then. I've got the key, which has been in the hands of the hotel, and also the McLaren Stuttgart workshop, which is just over to this side as it happens. Some really nice cars in there. But let's come through, get this started firstly, and then we will take it on outside. But all exactly as it was. It does now also have some brand new rear tyres which have been fitted. I did have a slow puncture. There was a nail in one of them, which was not so ideal. But back in here, as always, button up on the roof. It is currently in race mode. Let's start it. There we go, active to cancel and take it out of race mode, which you do need to do when the door is closed, but we get a touch more control. So press active again, race mode deactivation. Of course, we need to do this as quickly as we can, so we're not completely fuming out the hotel lobby, but how cool to have this view indoors, literally inside a hotel, where the car has been resident for the last couple of weeks. So we'll take it out. Tyre pressures are all looking good. We might need to inflate these a touch before we do go for a high-speed run, we can say, on the Autobahn, but let's see what happens and what we can find in a moment. It is now a little bit later in order to give the roads some time to be a little bit emptier as well, but out here is where you have the McLaren showroom and you have the McLaren workshop where my car was. Then there you've got a McLaren GT, 620R, 720Ss, and a Speedtail. For now though, let's head on out. It is a very cold evening, as you can tell from the moisture, which is now on the sides and especially on the roof panels of the car. So it'll take perhaps a little bit of time to get it warmer, but we will see what exactly is going to happen back here. Of course, the car has, from factory, the titanium and Inconel exhaust system. You have the 3 exhaust tips in European spec cars, because basically the bottom one is an additional muffler, which is why American cars, for example, actually only have the 2 tips as opposed to the 3, a different layout, different configuration, which does give the car a different look. Now, the cool thing about the positioning of the exhaust is that obviously if you get any flames, they're coming up here underneath the wing. This is to be out of the airflow, obviously around the back where everything is open for the aerodynamics of the car itself. But it does mean out the rear view mirror, you get this constant blue flame back here. I'll have to see what I can do with cameras, see maybe if we can mount one up here or something when we get on out. But let me take the car for a drive. Like I say, it is very, very chilly out here at the moment. It would actually help if I did unlock it first, obviously getting myself locked out of my own car. Let's pop the door, hop on board again. I think I'll be driving it probably in sport and sport mode. But let's get this warmed up. Oh, yes, you can see, nice and chilly. So, get the car started, we'll give it a moment. moment. But basically, I'm sorry it's quite so dark, back there, over the top of the 4-litre twin-turbo V8, we're going to get an extraordinary view behind. This is going to be very, very cool. So, off to do tyre pressures, get things warmed, and make our way. An amusing thing about taking this car for a run on the Autobahn is that at the moment we have a completely full tank of fuel, but I can tell you, simple mathematics, 800 horsepower and a foot down on the de-restricted German Autobahn, and that is not going to be hanging around for long. We're heading to one of the open stretches, where of course, being Germany, there's no posted speed limit. If it is clear and safe to do so, you are allowed to put your foot down. This is not going to be a VMAX run, though, I can tell you that. I am going to be taking it a little bit sensibly, at least. I have been very, very fast in this car before. In fact, I think up to about 330 kilometers per hour, so 210 miles an hour or so. We will see what it allows us to do later on. Obviously, new tyres as well. We need to get them a little bit scrubbed in, rather than going full guns blazing instantly. So we'll get warmed up into the feel of things, see if this fuel tank is going to last more or less than 50 miles. I suspect it will probably be less, actually. And of course, being the Senna, and a car with no sound deadening to speak of because it's race car, that is why I'm shouting at you guys to hear me over the top of the engine noise and everything. So just back in here, I'm going to take my time for a moment, get familiar with the car again, because each and every time this is something really, well, it's quite a big deal to drive it, and we'll see what happens as the temps start to rise, as we get a little bit further away from the town, and, well, see if we get some flames out the back. Well, conveniently, before even getting out of the 120 km/h limit, I have arrived at a services so I can do the tyre pressures. I was actually a little bit conscious of making sure those are all correct before getting out onto the completely open stretches. So I'll get this done as quickly as I can, and then we will be continuing on the way. The first mission is successful. We now have about 3 bar in all of the tyres, which is what we need. Gonna head out, I guess, as quietly as possible past the trucks here, to go onto an extended stretch of restricted Autobahn for the time being. But let's see what happens further up ahead. Aha! The de-restricted Autobahn. So, active, dynamics panel, manual gearbox, drop some gears. Of course, it's going to take a while before we see flames, but that won't stop me having some fun. I need to be conscious that the car is showing 5 degrees on the dashboard. 5 degrees is, of course, at the very cold end, so I need to keep my wits about me. 6 degrees now. Hopefully it continues to warm up. I'm certainly warming up. Standing out there doing the tyre pressures was a little bit on the chilly end. I mean, it's pretty noisy, isn't it, in this thing? Down to 3rd gear. Gosh, it's light, and gosh, it's fast. I'm not full throttle by any stretch of the imagination. I'm at 250, like it's nothing. Those of you who have been following for a while might remember back when I had my 12C and then my 650S, and I think maybe the 675 Coupe, I took them out for a drive by night to share the flames from those cars, because of course these McLaren engines run incredibly hot. Twin turbo V8s, they are literally burning the air behind the exhaust. I can't get my head around how fast this car is. I mean, I am not foot flat. We're going round the corner. The grip levels are just absurd. Absolutely absurd. Almost for this, of course, I want to be slowing down a little bit more. Slowing down, speeding up, going under full load, because where it really burns up the air and you get the blue flames is when you have the foot down. It's mental fast. It's easy to forget how fast this car really is, and the fuel tank is going very quickly already. I just looked down, we haven't quite lost a quarter, but we're getting towards that. Takeoff mode. Proper takeoff mode. We're adrenaline rush and a half, but it's so stable. The amount of downforce that it has, I swear 320 in here is more calm than 200 in regular or slower cars. I just can't get my head around this pickup. 800 horsepower, 800 newton meters of torque. And the in-gear pull, you don't even need to be in the lowest gear. Foot back on the throttle. It's absolutely absurd. We're now below half a tank of fuel. Like I said, that's not going to last long. We've not even gone 60 kilometers. And finally, the car with the world's largest picnic table has made its way to McDonald's. It's about 11 o'clock. It had to be done. Although I tell you actually, as picnic tables on cars go, this one is not all that useful because of the fact that you've got 2 layers and the very smooth curved aerodynamic shapes. It actually means if you put something here, it does end up falling out. I suppose technically that should be going there to be warmed up by the exhaust, but if you dropped a fry or something, it might end up getting completely cooked and toasted in the exhaust. But yes, it had to happen. Eventually this car was going to come here, but where else do you get food at 11 at night? I'm not exactly eating at the right times at the moment. Anyway, I'm gonna hop back in, take that home, back to the hotel and get cracking on. Well, I didn't get very far because just next door was a fuel station, so we now have a full tank of fuel, having driven 89.2 kilometers, which is just over 50 miles. As I thought earlier, it wasn't completely empty, to be fair, but it wasn't a particularly efficient tank. You do not, well actually, I mean, I did travel a long distance fairly quickly, so it could be a lot worse, but you don't drive like that in a car with 800 horsepower if conserving fuel is the name of the game. So yeah, certainly didn't pass or succeed in that mission. Anyway, I think this is the direction I am heading in. Go this way, pop the lift system back down. It will automatically drop as you speed up, or you can just have it down and makes life easy. Arriving back here then, where we have Porsche and McLaren in the same shot. I tell you what, that Taycan in there, that with gold wheels, that's kind of funky. I do like the Taycan, and I've thought a little bit about electric cars. Maybe that could be the one to go for. There are also lots of 991s and 992s. You can imagine the full lineup. Not very busy around these parts though at the moment, but I am going to pop this into the V8 Hotel garage, back where we began earlier. And, well, inside here, we also have the SLS. Oh, this is kind of cool, actually. As you come down here, check this out. Watch what the lights do. You think you're driving into the complete dark, and then out of nowhere, boom! Yeah, then you can't see anymore. And there, we have these 2 cars back together again. It's been a little while since the SLS Black Series and the McLaren Senna were parked in the same place, and they're in some pretty epic company as well. There is a 765 LT Coupe just here. Next to that, a 600 LT. Then we've got a 720 Spider and a whole bunch, 720 LM just tucked in at the end. Whole bunch of other McLarens sharing the hotel car park, but this has been pretty epic. This car is just insane in every possible way. And I wanted to share, as I said earlier, a bit of the crazy experience of the flames that pop out of the back of this. I would love to have seen that from another car, but I'm actually on my own despite having the 2 cars, so I didn't have the opportunity to do so. I'd need actually 3 people because I'd need to drive 2 cars, plus have somebody holding a camera as well. But this thing, I mean, it's just completely planted to the ground when you're going at speed. It has no qualms going about that in such an easy way. It picks up like a rocket. Obviously, it's completely rigid and solid. We've got the sticky rubber, the Trofeo-Rs, which are inflated for the purpose. And now you've experienced as well some of the flames that come out of the back of it, just as McLarens have often been famed for. In fact, 600 LTs, given that we've got one right here, these guys have just come back from a tour, I think, which is why they're completely filthy, having been driving in the mountains. Those exhausts, when it launched, there was a big thing about this, because if you rev the car, they just fire fireballs out the back, which is why the wing actually has that heat shield in the central section, as opposed to being carbon fibre the whole way along. That needs a big clean. That needs a big clean. But you just don't often see it with Sennas, because of course, I guess the value and people aren't really static revving them. It's not what this car is about. I tell you what would be cool, a nice warm evening at a circuit like Yas Marina, where you have amazing illumination, but it's also dark enough that you would see every single flame out of the back. That would be really cool. I'm sure it's been done, but I haven't personally seen it with my own eyes. For now though, that was awesome. It's a late night drive. I'm gonna go inside, say goodbye to the Senna, which now has a distinct smell of chicken nuggets inside it, which is not ideal, but we'll get that sorted another time and go have some dinner. So thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, I appreciate your support an awful lot. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.